Hey there, and welcome into another episode of the Capital PTBO. PTBO, the podcast. You can come and visit us at 370 George Street and online anytime at thecapitalptbo.ca. A little bit of a hiccup there at the start. When you don't hear anything in your headphones, it totally screws you up.
The very first time that we did this and we did the live take and I didn't know what to do, just froze up like deer in the headlights. That was the same thing, like, how do I let Latour know that there's nothing in the headset?
Are we on? Now, was that a producer error or was that our,
that's our
expensive toggle that we have?
Yeah, that's the toggle. That's not on me.
I'll tell you what it is. It's the table.
The freezing cold, like, embalming table that we have here?
Yeah, we got this out of a morgue. Not true. But you could slab a 6-footer on here, no problem, dissect it.
Easy. What's been going on? How are you?
Things are beautiful. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm very good.
Sun was shining today.
It finally felt nice. Apparently coming up in a few days, it's going to be actually
12
double digits, which would be great.
I'll get behind that, even with the foot of rain.
Yeah.
I'm still into it.
Get rid of some of the ice and the snow melt.
Oh, my gosh.
We got a very busy show that we got to get to today. We've got baseball stuff. We've got Canadian crowds. We've got Bodog making a disgrace of their top 10 Canadian athletes of all time. And then the quiz, which the topic for the quiz, and I'll give our viewers and listeners a chance to maybe do a little bit of research. NHL highest scoring seasons is the theme. NHL highest scoring seasons.
Let's check in with Latour. How are you feeling there, big fella?
I've grown up in the era where Jamie Benn won the Art Ross with how many points?
Like 87 or something?
So
I'm not
you're
feeling too hot.
Yeah, you're beat. Okay, good.
That's tough.
I don't love it.
NHL high score seasons. We'll do that a little bit later on. The major topic to me this week was Major League Baseball, and we now know the first two series of the regular season, at least, are going to end up being canceled. Mark, you're old enough to have lived through a strike in 1981, again in 1994, into 1995, and now here we are talking about it in 2022. What's your disappointment here?
Oh, it's off the chart. Like, it really, I was 2 years old for 1981. I appreciate that. 94 was gut-wrenching. When you're 13, there's like that magic age, right, where it happens either just before your teenage years or whatever it is, where everything you come across, you remember.
Yes.
Or you feel every single thing. I remember, the Expos 74 and 40, and it killed that franchise, even though they didn't leave for another 11 years or 10 years, whatever it was.
Fans never came back.
Never came back. Steroids saved it, right? Seelig turning the other cheek, and Sosa and McGuire and 61 and all these things. The home run saved it that time. What's left?
Yeah. What are you coming back to? What's the thing that could save Major League Baseball if they lose? And they've already been losing fan support the last number of years. I was foolish enough to believe that when the Chicago Cubs beat the Cleveland Indians in the 2016 World Series, I thought that was a jumping off point, that Major League Baseball was going to get back in the conversation of being an elite popular sport. I think Game 7 of that series drew 50 million.
Yeah.
Both teams were really good, really young. And then it just sort of didn't happen.
Yeah.
And even a few years ago, I thought, well, you've got a World Series between the Dodgers and the Red Sox. Boy, that's going to hit huge numbers. Didn't really. Mm-hmm. You had the cheating scandal with the Houston Astros. Rob Manfred, who might be the most unlikable commissioner.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I know a lot of people jump on Gary Bettman.
Yeah.
I've always been kind of a Gary Bettman, not fan, but I get a kick out of sort of his smart-ass New York, tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. Robert Manfred, to me, just seems like an idiot. There's nothing shrewd about him.
It's so frustrating. Like, to be so smug to think... So, like, a few things that baseball doesn't have. You talk about, okay, so coming out of the strike, you still had Ripken, too.
Yeah.
Right? So, Cal's chase of Gehrig was a thing. The average age of your fan today is 57 in Major League Baseball. 57. Here you're worried about, so if, like anything, I open up a store and if I'm selling running apparel, and my core audience, though, is where I live, say, is out of shape dudes, guess what? I'm probably not going to last very long. I'm not really listening to my core.
Yeah.
Baseball's 57, and here you're messing with like, okay, let's do the 4 pitch count. Let's try to get the game under 2.5 hours. Let's make pitch clocks. Why don't you just embrace the fact that it's 3 hours long? And it's a star-driven league that nobody knows who your stars are.
Yes. So you mentioned it. Coming out of 95 was one of the sweet spots for stars in Major League Baseball. You mentioned Cal Ripken, sort of the older guard. You had Ken Griffey Jr., you had Frank Thomas, you had Barry Bonds, you had Ricky Henderson, you had Greg Maddux, you had Roger Clemens, you had Pedro Martinez. You had all of these notables like, oh my God, if I see that guy on a magazine, I want to pick it up and read it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're there. And the frustrating thing for me is baseball is my absolute favorite sport. It was the one I played growing up as a kid. It's the one I had moderate athletic success in. It's the one that my dad passed down watching the Yankees of Mickey Mantle, and we've had all of those stories. And now we're talking about banning shifts. We're talking about pitch clocks. We're talking about bigger bases. And my least favorite, which is coming in, the universal DH.
Yeah.
As a National League Baseball fan, that just drives me nuts. And I know I'm probably one of maybe in the 20% that hates that. But I always felt that the one thing that was charming about Major League Baseball was that there was differences between the leagues.
Yeah.
I thought it would be cool. It'd be not quite as extreme, but it would almost be like the AFC plays 3-down football and the NFC plays 4-down football, and depending on where the Super Bowl is held, you have to adjust.
Right.
I thought there was more strategy involved in it, and I never subscribed to the notion that, wow, pitchers are just a waste and that's just the way it is. If you had pitchers that took their craft seriously at hitting, you had a big advantage. If you could throw up Carlos Zambrano or Madison Bumgarner or John Smoltz,
right,
you had a distinct advantage because they were serious about that part of the game.
Yeah. It's an absolute tragedy. Baseball is a thinking person's sport. It always has been. Yeah. It's always been chess pieces moving around the board. It's always been about if you strike out or the seventh hitter, it's 7, 8, 9, the National League, and the seventh inning gets out. Okay, maybe if you do have a pitcher who is 0 for 40 lifetime, maybe you intentionally walk 8 to double up on 9. Give the pitcher something to hit. He hits it to short, 5-4-3 double play. It's over. End of the inning. Again, your average consumer is 57 years old. One, he can't connect with the young people of today. He has no interest in Fernando Tatis doing the heel click coming around third, doing the bat flip. He has no interest in that. You can pretty well guarantee it. They think it's showboating. Banning the shift. In my day, we never would have done the shift. Well, okay, the shift is what it's doing is it's stifling offense. Yes. Do you want to watch 9? The average game has 9 strikeouts. Holy smokes. That's a lot. We need guys to get on. It's already 1 versus 9. It's already a game of failure. Ban the shift. It's okay. Or on the other side of the coin, if you've been swinging a bat since you were 6 years old, and you've got a shift on between first and short, and there's no third baseman, I can appreciate if you've got a hard-throwing left-hander who's feeding you dietary fastballs inside at 95. You won't be able to flex it down third. No. But once, the pitcher's going to make a mistake out of those 5, 6, 7 pitches you're going to see in that at-bat. Stop messing with the fundamental parts of the game and try to grow the game through the stars that you employ.
Can I tell you why the big bases thing, even though it's a headline that kind of reads funny, is actually not going to be a bad idea?
Can I have a ruling what big bases is? I haven't heard this.
15 inches to 18 inches.
15 to 8, so an extra 3 inches.
They think it'll cut down injuries.
Like at second base?
Yeah. Or at first base.
Okay.
They feel like they're giving them a little extra real estate. There will be not as much of the sliding into second, pop off the bag, tag on the runner kind of stuff, because apparently with the 18-inch, it gives you a little bit more room.
Sure. Guys are starting to slide 2 feet out.
It also, in the minor leagues, is supposed to be a remedy for encouraging stolen bases again. Apparently, the extra 3 inches on these bags matters a lot, or can make a big difference. Now, Sabermetrics has basically destroyed the idea of the stolen base.
Yeah.
They just don't do it. But to me, that's one of the most exciting elements of Major League Baseball.
Absolutely.
Doubles, triples, stolen bases.
Yeah. The
home runs are nice when they're timely, but if you're watching a game with 5 solo home runs and it's just sort of whatever.
Right. And they lose 9-5.
Yeah.
You can't, great to have all these solo shots, but that's not fun.
No.
That's not great baseball. I haven't seen a solo home run hasn't brought me out of my seat in 20 years.
I always thought they rely on the home run derby, which, again, like the slam dunk contest, like most of the NHL skills competition, sort of like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But I always thought one of the things that they should bring in is the first to third throw challenge.
Absolutely.
Give me a fast runner and a guy with a rocket of an arm. And
right. The stolen base challenge.
Yeah.
Get the 6 biggest guys behind the plate. You would have Pudge up against Kenny Lofton in the 90s.
That'd be fun.
Absolutely.
That'd be a lot of fun.
A guy keeps him honest. Maybe you have a pitcher on the mound.
Yeah.
If Kenny takes a little bit of liberties, bang, gets picked off. That's fun. That's growing the game with your stars.
I think this goes to at least 120 games. I think there's 40 games for each team.
I don't think you're watching a Major League Baseball regular season game in April.
Rapid Robert suggests 7-inning games.
Yeah.
I can't get behind that.
They did that for the doubleheaders, right?
And that was bad.
What a disappointment.
Yeah.
Guys carrying a no-hitter into the 7th, gets it, and we don't lock it down? Give me a freaking break.
That's bad, and I think that's going away. I don't think there's huge support for that. Now, of course, most of the strike has to do with luxury tax and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough to sort of tackle that.
That's all for the accountants.
Minimum salaries going up.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff that, again, just like in 94, remember there was the Tom Glavine, we're just trying to feed our families, and it's billionaires.
Oh, my gosh.
It feels kind of the same. Billionaires.
And this is, you take that piece of paper, and that piece of paper equates to your $10 billion a year in annual revenue. And really, when it gets right down to it, it's a dot in the middle that you're actually fighting over in the end.
Yeah.
Because 95% of the monies, you can agree on the allotment. It's that extra 5% that the guys want to, the owners want 60% of that 5%. Get out of here. Let's get a deal.
I don't think it's going to be good.
I don't think it's going to be good either.
Nope.
I think they've got a real problem in baseball. And I don't see, coming out of the break, Tatis and Vlad Jr. and Mike Trout and these guys. Trout's done. He was your face of baseball for 10 years when he didn't want to be. That's over. He plays in a team that doesn't matter. LA, they don't care. And these other kids that are carrying the torch they are so out of touch with the guys that are watching. You're so preoccupied on cutting down the game instead of feeding the stars. Go to Venezuela. Go to Dominican. These guys are revered. It's nothing but star-studded. That's what the whole game is. Here, forget it.
Aaron Canton says less pitching changes.
Yeah.
And
they've tried to sort of.
And Jody Jenkins says let everyone juice. He'll watch every single game.
Yeah, there's a sentiment that does that for sure.
It's the Tour de France effect.
Yeah. If everyone's doing it.
The whole juicing and Hall of Fame thing, I know we went down this road.
Yeah. Don't get me fired up.
Oh, my God.
Don't you get me fired up. Canadian crowds. It was interesting to see the Toronto Maple Leafs finally getting to have this sellout. It's this huge moment. They're coming off a couple of key road wins. Lay probably the worst dud that they have the entire season.
Big steamer.
Always against Buffalo.
I know.
It doesn't matter. Buffalo has been terrible for 10 years.
Right.
They play Toronto really well.
That's what Jay and I were talking about. I'd like to see the numbers as in Buffalo. It's a bloodshed.
Yeah.
But for whatever, at the beginning of the year, if I was Leafs, okay, you know what? 4 of the let's just mail those in. Just call Gary. Listen, put us down for 4 losses. No big deal. We'll take the other 2 wins. Got to play you guys 6. What's with this team?
I don't know.
Honestly, what's with the team?
I don't know, but to me, because I'm not wrapped up, I'm not a Maple Leafs fan, so I can look at it a little bit more objectively, I'll say. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at a team that's going to win 50 games and go for about 110 points. Austin Matthews, right now, there was an article posted earlier today, says he might be the front runner for the Hart Trophy. Tough to argue.
Yeah. 36 goals, whatever he's got.
Tough to argue.
Yeah.
I think his points need to come up a little tiny bit.
Sure.
But if he's able to lead the league in goals, which there's no reason he can't, probably 56, 57, maybe at the end of the year. So I'm looking at this team and I'm thinking, Tavares looks like he's maybe lost a stride.
Yeah.
Not piling up the goals or points the way he probably should. But I'm looking at Toronto. The one thing that we've talked about is solving what I think is the goaltender fatigue problem. And this is Jack Campbell, first time being like a starter for an entire season, has really looked worn out, in my opinion, and the stats bear this out, since the COVID shutdown. He just has not been great after that. Peter Mrazek, I mean, this guy has no idea where his net is at any point.
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody so badly out of position on like a 2-on-1 as this guy.
I don't know.
I mean, that's alarming that you don't think... If you, the one thing I will point at and say, do they have a Stanley Cup caliber defense core? No.
No.
Do they have a Stanley Cup caliber goaltender? No.
No. And I think that's where you have to build out first. I think you would be pretty hard to argue. I mean, there's maybe some teams that got it naturally. Like I'm looking at the 90s Penguins. They're thinking that they didn't really start from the build from the net out. You know, you kind of had like a generational talent, and then you surrounded them with 3 Hall of Famers and 2 Hall of Famers on D. So you won most games 6-5, whatever. That's not this year's Leafs. That's not going to win in today's NHL.
No.
You look at, you can name the good defensemen or the defensemen whose names have been made by winning Stanley Cups. You know, there was a long time where I think people like Jay Bouwmeester or Alex Pietrangelo or Mark Shattenkirk, absolutely, were kind of run of the mill. Then they win.
Puts them in a different area.
It does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you think Ovechkin's going to hear it around the league? He's only played in Washington so far since he had the really non-committal, sort of weird spot, won't go against Putin.
I think it is.
He's going to hear it.
I think he's on both edges of the sword here.
Yeah.
Alex has family that lives over there.
Yep.
As much as you don't want to think that Vlad is a gangster, and I use
guy's
that.
Nuts.
I use that in the most nice term. Like, I don't think gangster like cool.
No.
Like gangster, like he'll kill your family if you say the wrong thing. That's not cool.
No.
So when you hear stories of guys like Kovalchuk about, I'm just gonna go ahead and end it. I'm gonna leave the NHL and I'm gonna go back to play in Russia. That's because it was well documented that he's hearing whispers about, y'all maybe should come back to the KHL.
Yeah. We want this to become a
maybe
national...
your mom thinks it's a good idea.
Right.
Because us at the Russian Sport Federation thinks it's a good idea, and so does our boss.
Do you think the next step is the National Hockey League and or other sport governing bodies? We've seen it with the Paralympics. We've seen it with FIFA. We've seen it with a few of those, international organizations. Do you think all of a sudden the French Open tennis tournament says, Daniil Medvedev, #1 player in the world, you're not coming? Do you think that the NHL gets to a point where they say, okay, well, in the upcoming draft, no more Russians? I don't think you can get rid of the Russians that are there right now.
Yeah, so I think there's two things about it. One, these are contracted athletes in some respects. But 2, sport is a privilege.
Very true, yeah.
Like, it is maybe the ultimate privilege to be able to be paid to play a child sport, not getting super philosophical on it here. You are trying to overtake a nation for the reasons of which are only beneficial to you. It's not beneficial to the world at large. So if Medvedev isn't allowed to play in the French Open, good.
So I've totally come around on this. I was having a conversation with my boys the other night, and this came up. And I said, really, morally, we're going to point our fingers and hold Russian athletes accountable who really have nothing to do with the direct situation? And they said, yeah. Because eventually it needs to come down to Russian citizens and us demanding more of them to hold their government accountable.
Absolutely.
When it comes to dictators, what's the one thing when we look back at what happened in the 20th century, the most of us look around and say, how could the people just allow that sort of thing to happen? And when they explained it to me like that, all of a sudden that's going to fire up more people. If, hey, Alexander Ovechkin, you're not allowed to play anymore. Hey, Daniil Medvedev, you're not allowed to play anymore.
This will be, and it's bigger than sport. But
Yeah.
so if Russian athletes or performers or of any respect are now not allowed to practice their craft, that as well as all the other sanctions from the governments combined, it does elevate them because the people that live there, they want to see their stars, their heroes.
Yes.
These people are on platforms where they can make change possible. So, yeah, absolutely. If Alex doesn't get the opportunity to come back to Washington next year, it'll be because the U.S. government doesn't allow it. Just because they're signed NHL contracts does not guarantee them to get work visas. Guys have problems with cocaine. They don't cross borders. And that's true of sports and in life.
I wanted to make every out for Alexander Ovechkin here because I genuinely have enjoyed watching him play. I think him chasing Gretzky is a feel-good story and one that I didn't think I would see. That being said, I mean, it's well documented now that he was on the campaign trail for Vladimir Putin. So at this point, to sit back and say, well, I'm just a hockey player. Even on his Instagram pic, as much as yesterday, it's him and Vladimir Putin like shaking hands and doing that kind of stuff. It's sticky, but we're in a situation now where things are getting scary.
Yeah.
And therefore, if it means by embarrassing a high-up Russian athlete,
Yeah.
I think you got to do it. People are dying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hockey is a privilege, and living is not. Living is a right, and you have the right to have that freedom. And if it means an inconvenience for Alex or anybody else, I feel sorry for Alex. I can appreciate that this is a heck of a position to be in, but it's also a heck of a position to live in Kyiv.
Mm-hmm.
And one is certainly a lot more important to the world at large than, what Alex has to do.
I just want to hear his first game away from Washington.
Yeah.
'Cause I think Washington's going to be polite for
Absolutely.
the most part.
Yeah, they're not inviting the Ukraine
But when
national anthem to be
Alex
sung.
Ovechkin plays in, I don't know, Philadelphia,
Sure.
Calgary is his next away game.
Calgary,
It's on.
he'll get it. He'll
Tuesday.
still get it from the Canadian
Sure.
fans.
And not to mention,
Yeah.
it's Alex is the poster boy.
Yeah.
There's Kuznetsov's there, Backstrom's there,
Malkin.
Vanacek's there. There's more than just
Yeah.
2 or 3 Russian dudes.
Malkin
Tough.
was somebody, too, who's sort of behind Alex in this, that he did some campaign stuff as well. I would feel bad for Artemi Panarin, who I think is one of the athletes who actually spoke up against Putin in the last election.
Yeah, that's
where
right.
does he get sort of tangled into all
Yeah.
this? I want to shift gears from Russia to Canada.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why I'm doing this is Bodog Canada put out their list of the top 10 Canadian athletes of all time. I think this was just a clever marketing troll job. That's all I thought about it.
100%, please.
Here we go. Let's run this down really quick.
At 10.
Brett the Hitman Hart.
Get out of here. Just starting the list, because I knew there's no point in starting at 1.
Listen, I did a project when I was in grade 10, which was 2005, and it coincided with the greatest Canadian vote.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I picked Brett the Hitman Hart. I can't have him on this list.
Oh, my gosh.
You just can't have him on this
No,
list.
2005. 2005, that's, what are we talking, 17 years
Yeah.
ago? What grade did you say?
I was in grade 10.
Oh, jeepers, even that barely gets a pass, but let's keep going.
Number 9, Georges St. Pierre. Okay. I can hear an argument.
I can hear an argument, fine.
Could be, Matt, you're the official word on mixed martial arts, but he's in the top, 5 ever to do that craft, right?
I would argue top 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 8, Mike Weir. I'm not having Mike Weir on my list.
Oh, my God.
He's the greatest Canadian golfer. He won the Masters. Didn't do much else.
How long ago was that Masters? 18
2003.
years ago?
Yeah, 03.
19? Yeah.
First lefty to win the Masters, too. But I'm sorry. We have...
I can appreciate if we're talking about if you had to get one from each sport, Dick Zockel probably doesn't make the list. Fine.
Mo Norman.
Mo Norman. Well, Mo Norman, though. What do you mean? I think he's the winningest Canadian golfer ever.
Number 7, Sidney Crosby. I'll give you my thoughts on that in a second. Number 6, Haley Wickenheiser. Number 5, Steve Nash. He's got to be on the list.
Absolutely.
Number 4, Mario Lemieux. I think he has to be on the list.
Yeah.
Number 3, Clara Hughes. Successful.
Very.
Got caught on a doping violation early. Maybe I won't hold that against her fully.
At 3, though,
At 3, no chance.
she's not the most decorated Canadian athlete
No.
either.
Cindy Klassen. We learned that.
Right,
Yeah.
Cindy Klassen. Norway.
If she makes my list, it's at 10.
Sure.
Number 2, Wayne Gretzky.
Mm-hmm.
And number 1, Terry Fox.
Okay.
Do you want to be that guy, or am I going to be that guy?
Oh, I'm not going to be that
I'll
guy.
be that guy.
Terry, okay, we'll let that go to Latour. Terry Fox it's a non-starter for me.
When I think of athletes, I think of somebody like in an organized sport.
I wouldn't have Terry on mine.
Terry Fox, yeah.
Sorry.
No, I can understand that.
If we want to have the greatest Canadian debate, if we want to have who should be on the $5 bill, if we want to have the athletic achievement that had the greatest impact,
I'm all ears.
we can talk Terry Fox. I can't make an argument that Terry Fox is actually the greatest athlete that Canada's ever produced.
Correct. The numbers are staggering. Unbelievable. Mm-hmm. 42 kilometers a day for 130 some days.
Impressive,
on one leg. Unbelievable. Terrific. 17-year-old kid. Okay, so let's leave Terry out because, no, greatest Canadian, I'm in.
Yeah.
The other accolades, unbelievable.
Yeah.
What he did for cancer research, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. Okay, Gretz at 2, fine. Clara Hughes, okay, no. Holy smokes, where are the rest of these guys?
So
who do you got?
I just scribbled down people that if I did a list, they'd probably be on it. Donovan Bailey's on that list.
Sure. Okay.
World's fastest man, gold medal, Olympics, world championship.
Mm-hmm. And he lived long in the shadow of Ben.
Yes.
Right? That was a big
There was
time.
a bigger story there of vindication for the track.
Absolutely.
Ferguson Jenkins.
Oh, sure.
Fergie?
Chatham, first Canadian ever to make the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, really.
Christine Sinclair is pretty well, I think it's commonly thought of. She's the greatest female soccer player that has ever lived.
I think the biggest omission from this list.
Would she not be number 2? Could you not go Gretz 1, her 2?
She's got nearly 300 international goals.
On the men's side, it's
Crazy.
Ronaldo with 100 and something.
Yeah. I got a soft spot for Elvis Stoico.
Wow.
Here we go.
Canada is a figure skating nation.
We've had plenty of...
I think he's the best.
We had Kerr, we had Brian Orser, absolutely.
Why don't you just put Scott and Tessa together as like a slot instead?
Don't tempt us.
I did see a list of them. If you want to go way back, Barbara Ann Scott had won a bunch of Olympic championships as a figure skater. If I wanted to be a hipster and go with the Otto Graham take of her. And I had Marie-Philippe Poulin, who I think if she could jump in, I think she could jump. It's so tough. I think she's a better hockey player than Haley Wickenheiser. She's had more international. Oh, I don't know. That's tough.
She has more clutch goals.
She has more clutch goals for sure.
Certainly, yeah. I think she's won more Canadian gold medals than any female hockey player alive.
Yeah.
Wickenheiser's more of a trailblazer. That's the thing.
You know what the thing with Canada is? It's like why we don't have like something like real Canadian food other than poutine or something. Like we don't really have that. There's not that one like Canadiana thing about Canadians like there is with America.
Yeah.
Is it important that you had to win in your craft? Is that why a guy like Fergie Jenkins isn't on the list? Larry Walker's not on the list?
Fergie Jenkins never made the playoffs.
Never made the playoffs.
It's the only reason tough. I think Mike Weir's on this list. This original list.
I think that's a valid
If Mike Weir doesn't
point.
win that Masters, he's not even top 100.
He's Milos Raonic.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Where's Milos on
that's
this
list?
That's
a good analogy, yeah.
Where's our girl... Eugenie Bouchard.
Where's Bianca?
Yeah, where's Bianca Andreescu?
Yeah, where's Bianca
She legit won.
She legit won, but I mean, the book's not finished on her yet. She's just a kid.
So I'm okay with that. I mean, these lists will always be complicated because how many hockey players do you go with? I mean, Bobby Orr, could he be on this list?
Yeah, right.
I mean, we talked about Maurice Richard. Could he be on this
list?
list?
There's a lot of guys on that list that didn't win.
Yeah.
Nash is 2-time MVP.
Didn't win.
Didn't
go to a finals.
No.
Justin wants to know, what about Stu Hart?
Well, I mean, if we're going to go Calgary Stampede.
There's like voice that he used to.
If we could use, Stu Hart, Calgary Stampede.
Great big bastard. That's just interesting case.
Stu, Owen, and Brett. Now, if that list had been top 10 Canadian sport families.
Where's Rowdy Roddy Piper?
Where is Rowdy? Where's
I could hear that.
Iron Mike Sharp?
If you just said straight up sporting families, I could maybe get a Hart argument.
You could get Hart at 10.
Yeah.
Hart, yeah. Who else would be on there? Like, who's won?
For Canadian sports fans.
Is it the Gretzkys?
I think it probably is the Gretzkys. For
Keith, Brent, and Wayne?
Well, I think if you look at what Walter did, I think his body of work as like Canada's hockey dad it's probably pretty important.
The Sutters, like just by sheer numbers,
because there's 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
Like none of them were ever like
Kids
super great, but
yeah.
What about the Stahl brothers?
Stahl brothers, okay.
Couple in Peterborough here.
4 in the NHL.
Interesting.
The Nurse family, that's a big one.
So Nurse, I think because
be near
mom
the
and
top.
dad too are like they're good athletes. I think maybe one was an Olympian.
Yeah.
Yep. Darnell's in the NHL. Kia's in the WNBA.
Yeah.
I think there's one play for the Olympic women's hockey team too.
Can we do?
that
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Can we do Lennox Lewis on this list? Or did he just decide he was British, so that was it? Because that's what, I mean, he represented Canada at the Olympics.
That's right.
And then he decided there was more money in being the heavyweight champ from Great Britain than there was from Canada.
Yeah. I can't remember. I don't know if I've ever heard a Lennox Lewis interview before, like 91, when he went to because then all of a sudden.
He drummed up the accent.
He got the accent right back. Like my dad is born in the UK. He goes back to the UK for 2 or 3 weeks. He goes back. He still sounds like my dad.
He doesn't come back as Austin Powers.
Oh, hello. No, right. No. Like it doesn't happen. That's a terrible accent, too.
If you wanted to, that was almost like New Zealand or something.
Let's not delineate it that. It wasn't that bad.
What's the new bar on Hunter Street? They're coming, on Hunter. It replaced the Garnet, that UK bar.
The Crook and Castle.
They're coming up to
something.
kick your door in after that accent.
No, they're not.
So I think this list was a bit of a troll job, but it would
Big
have
time.
some. I like you can't do a list without Donovan Bailey on it. You just can't.
Yeah, no.
There's nothing. I would argue there's very few things in sport that is larger than being the fastest man in the world. It's a sport that every nation in the world competes at.
That's right.
That's why I value track and field gold and silver medals more than, say, no offense,
shooting.
Well, or even something like swimming, where Penny Alexiak's great and Michael Phelps racked up all these medals. But I mean, not every country participates in swimming, and they don't have the infrastructure. But you're literally, since the beginning of time, men and women have been running against each other.
Right. We've always judged it based on speed. Yeah.
And wrestling.
Yeah. So why that's why
bastard.
That's why Brett's on the list.
I can't. I love Bret Hart, but I mean that's like he's an entertainer.
Yeah,
sure.
It's more of
if a Canadian
great Canadian actors.
If a Canadian guy in Cirque du Soleil can do a standing triple backflip, he's not making my top athletes.
If there was a
good point,
top 10 most like reviled Canadian athletes, who's it one? A guy that the people like, for whatever reason they just hated.
Brett Laurie.
Brett Laurie's at one. I've got 2 at 1.
Ben Johnson?
Ben, for sure.
Yep.
Though for me, forget it. I still watch it. I still show my kids when they're willing to watch. Ben comes out of that race like an absolute stallion.
Yeah.
Like he is.
Like we've never seen a human being run like this
No,
before.
and there was the 3rd false start.
Yeah.
Right? 1 false start, 2 false start. Ben comes out of there like he's shot out of a cannon. The guy looks like he's chiseled the granite. Right? It's like I forget what lane he's running in. He's running like lane 3 or something, or 4. They pan over. It's like the dude from Senegal, the dude from South Africa, and then Ben at middle linebacker, and then Linford Christie, like a guy who's 160 pounds at Great Britain. I know they were cheating. Give me a freaking break. 979 is still unbelievable. It took nearly
979 with the point in the air too.
He slowed right down to look at Carl.
Yeah.
Like, Carl, I know you're cheating too, bro, but I'm at 979. If he had gone full on, he could have run 965.
We have a couple of most hated comments.
Oh yeah.
Justin says Brad Marchand.
Ah, yes.
I feel like hockey's such a bubble though. Like, if you say to any NBA fan, "Hey, do you hate Brad Marchand?" They're gonna say, "Who's Brad Marchand?"
Yeah. Okay.
Aaron says Todd Bertuzzi.
Oh wow.
Todd the Bod.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's all.
Jeepers, he's been out of the lexicon for a long time, hasn't he?
He was
Todd Bertuzzi.
like a bag of bones for his last 10 years.
How about 96 World Cup of Hockey, Brett Hull?
Yeah.
Like
I'm playing for the U.S. now, and I'm going to.
I'm born in Belleville, Ontario.
Yeah.
You guys jobbed me at the 86 team Canada.
Brett is the exact definition of I hated him so much.
Yeah.
Hated him, brash. And then he comes to the Red Wings, one of my favorite players ever.
Oh. But he was.
I love you, Brett.
He was gone then.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Scotty turns him around and says, I mean, that probably even happened in Dallas, too.
Yeah.
Listen, you're no longer 86-goal Brett.
No.
You know, you're 20 goals, and you got to learn to play both ways.
Was Vince Carter on there?
Absolutely. Carter's got to be. Now that they've exercised the demon of winning, you know, that kind of remedies and cures all, like in the same way as it does for Bill Buckner and the Red Sox did. It's still, but that's still a very, very painful divorce for a lot of people, Vince Carter. I mean, the effect he had on Canadian basketball was massive, but that's still a painful.
Not an athlete, but Peter Pocklington would probably be.
For sure, he's on the list, 100%.
Yeah.
We do the top 10 Canadian athletes.
Yep.
How do you not say James Naismith? Come on.
See, that's, again, getting a little bit more trendy.
Is he a top 10 Canadian doctor? Canadian sport doctors will put him.
He's up there.
Charlie Murphy. What was his name? Was it Charlie Murphy, the guy that
From
gave
the
Ben?
Chappelle Show?
No, the guy that gave Ben the steroids.
Brian McNamee.
No,
like
it's not
Roger
Brian
Clemens.
McNamee.
How high do you have Steve Nash on this list? Because Bodog had him at like 9.
Bodog actually had him at 5.
Is he at 5?
Yeah, he was at 5.
I think he's about right.
I think so too.
I think he's about right.
I think to win at his position, to win back-to-back MVPs, considering the landscape of who he was playing against, you know, he's at Kobe in his prime.
Yep.
Yeah.
And didn't play with him
Nope.
to win them. Played with Amari Stoudemire to win.
Played,
Holy smokes.
you know, Shaq's still good. Duncan.
Yeah.
He's taking MVPs away from Duncan and Garnett
Yeah.
and that crew.
I think you could maybe
Yep.
argue that it was a little bit of a softer NBA in terms of star power.
Yeah.
Because there's not one of those guys there that makes me excited.
I think you could litigate that the 05 one probably shouldn't have gone his way by all modern looks on it.
Yeah.
But the 06 one, I think, was what I actually think his best year was the 07 one, which he didn't win.
get.
Dirk.
Yeah.
That was his career high in points, I think, and assists that one year. Interesting. Top Canadian athletes of all time. Let us know what you think. You can always reach out to us at MNC Podcasts. Do we want to do the quiz? I teased this a little bit earlier.
Are we ready for it?
NHL highest scoring seasons.
They hand it off to Johnson. Boise State has won the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Can you believe it?
Two strikes, ball one. Here comes the pitch. Strike three. A no-hitter, a perfect game for John Larson. Anderson made a wild stab towards the bell. Here's another shot. Right by the score. And he's got it. And scores for Canada. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
We're seeing what this guy is really made of. What he is. The greatest professional athlete in the world today. Look at this. He's I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I don't believe it either, Jesse the Body Ventura. And Gorilla Monsoon in that clip, I think he sort of contradicts us because he calls Hulk Hogan the greatest athlete in the world today.
Yeah.
And he was on the cover of
We're
Sports
seeing him for
Illustrated.
what he is.
Every week, I agree more and more with Rapid Robert that's just a wall of sound.
You know what?
Like, that is a lot to take in.
We're doing some work on maybe retiring. that.
No, we're not, because you retire that, I quit. I can't understand. I know you guys have heard it I heard it as a listener, but you guys were doing it like you're delivering it live.
Yeah.
So maybe you have some hate on for it. It's like you work at McDonald's, you don't eat the food anymore. If you guys can it, I'm 100% serious. Like, unless we replace it with something super tough.
I've
Because
got
I've
a whole bunch of Mike Tyson punch-out songs on here. Like, we've been looking for a reason. Like,
every time. Yeah. You know what? Now, during trivia, when I get one right, and so people, you're going to hear a lot of these. I want one of the video game soundtracks to play. Yeah, that's Bald Bull.
That is Bald Bull. The one character that I remember from that game. All right, NHL highest scoring seasons for really no particular reason at all. I just thought that this one would be a good one to go down.
That's nice.
All right, question number 1. Mount Latour against Mark Million, who is undefeated in the Flashback Friday quiz. He is 4-0. With 155 points, this player has the most points in an NHL season by a player not named Lemieux or Gretzky. With 155 points, this player has the most points in a season by a player that's not named Lemieux or Gretzky.
I have an answer. I don't think it's right.
Coming flying out of the gate with that one. One of my favorite stats in the history of sport.
Jaromir Jagr?
Oh, no. Psyched you out a bit. No way. You got close to that.
Immediately,
though,
I draw a blank. I know Bernie Nichols is at 150 with 70 and 80. I know that.
Yes.
But at 155.
Is Jagr an awful answer? I feel he had some high
No.
Okay.
Jagger's got a couple of 115s in there.
Jagr had a 149.
He did have a 149.
Okay, so I'm not that far
Nope.
off.
That's a
No,
good
you
guess.
were fine. I'm just making you feel good. 155. I'm going to guess Stevie Yzerman.
I said it was one of my favorite stats in all of sports for a very reason. It is Steve Yzerman.
Yes.
88-89.
Shane Sayer also nailed that one.
Unbelievable.
He scores 155, finishes third in the scoring race.
And who finished third in scoring that year on that team?
Robert?
Robert Probert.
Ah.
80 points. Unbelievable, Bob.
All right. I feel like Mark's got the edge going into this next one. So we've established the fact that Yzerman, Gretzky, and Lemieux all had scored more than 150 points. Can you name the other two who have reached 150? You already nailed the obscure one, and that is Bernie Nichols.
Okay, so I'll take Nichols for my point.
I know it's not Jagr.
Oh, you were right there, though. Who else, Latour?
Can I get the year?
Early 70s.
Hull?
Which Hull?
Bobby?
No.
You got the error right. The correct response is Phil Esposito, 152.
Phil Esposito was the original high-scoring player in NHL history at 152.
76 and 76.
Yeah.
Aaron Canty gave me that answer. It was wrong.
Came
Throw
back
him under the bus here.
Came back a few years later and had a 145.
Correct.
All right, Mark's flexing right now. Despite a career-best 148 points in 1992-93, which is the 19th best total all time, this player did not win the Art Ross Trophy.
This is my youth. It makes me feel good. It really does. Latour?
Want me to repeat? Despite a career-best 148 points in 92-93, the 19th best total all time, this player did not win the Art Ross Trophy.
No, Jagr? Did we just talk about this?
It's not Jagr. He had a 149 a couple years later. You're just hoping one of these has to do with Jaromir Jagr.
Yeah, one of these Jagr answers is going to hit.
Now, I feel like see, 148. So 92 is like a weird year, right? Because you've got McGillney flex, and you've got Solani flex, and you've got these sorts of guys that are piling up numbers.
Has to be the year where there's the most like 100-point, 50-point. And they also
Easy.
played 84 games. Played the extra two
Right.
neutral
You had
site
two
games.
expansion teams getting smoked.
Yep.
Was this guy a Buffalo Sabre
Yes.
and a New York Islander?
Yes.
Oh, God. I hate this.
And later a New York Ranger.
And later, to finish it out, because he was done,
Yeah.
Pat LaFontaine.
It is Pat LaFontaine for this one.
Give me
It hurts
Piston.
me every time I have to hit the applause button.
Well, just give me Piston Honda or something. Do.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to get to him. Where's Piston Honda?
Yeah. There you go.
Do.
Well, you're killing this one. Give me the 7 NHL rookies to get 100 points in a season. This one could be a little bit more interesting.
Do you count?
No, Wayne is not eligible.
out.
Solani?
Give me 7 rookies to each reach 100 points. Yes, Timo Solani, 132. That is a record that will never, ever be broken.
Correct. Give yourself a ding.
Oh, yeah. I'm not used to that.
Okay. Do you want the rest?
Yeah. Let's pile it on.
Are we taking turns? How are we doing this?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
As many as you want. Let's go ahead.
Ovechkin?
Yep.
2 for 2. McGillney?
No,
That's a tough one too,
that is.
because people think that his like 72 goals or whatever was his rookie year, but it wasn't.
McDavid got hurt.
Okay.
Are you going to come in just clean house? Like,
Well,
Macho Man Randy
no.
Savage?
Sid,
Yep.
Pete Stastny,
Yep.
Joe Juno.
Wow. See, that's the one that this one's not like the others.
How many do we have left?
Two.
Two more. Now I
Mario?
think.
Mario, yes.
Good one, Latour. Okay, I've got to get the last one to win the category here.
I think I know it.
I don't think you do.
I think I do.
I don't know about that.
I don't know if Mark wants another shot here to answer, or should I just crush him?
Yeah, crush me. It's already 3-0. Go ahead.
Dale Hawerchuk?
Whoa.
It is Dale Hawerchuk.
Whoa.
103.
I was just say 103. Good for you. Who gave you that? Shane Sayre?
Nobody. You can check the Facebook comments.
you can-
You
Nobody.
didn't just pull Hawerchuk
Yeah,
out of your
you
ass.
could check the
I know, no.
shit.
I know he had a lot of points as a rookie.
you could check the deleted comment. Shane
There's
Sayre.
no deleted comment.
Delete
Shane
Facebook
Sayre put
All right,
Timu down.
all
He
right.
put Patty down.
All right.
Most points, last but not least here, by the way. Most points in a season by a defenseman. Again, the caveat, not named or coffee.
As a like regular.
Just overall.
Overall.
Most points in a season by a defenseman not named or coffee who have a bunch.
Wow.
Ray Bork?
Surprisingly, no 100-point seasons from Ray Bork. 96 was
96.
the most for Ray. This
Okay.
one had 103.
103 points. Not or coffee. 103, 103, 103.
Like the top 10 has to be or coffee, right?
Yeah, it's just like jockeying for position
Yeah.
the whole way.
Brian Leach?
Oh, jeepers, I like that guess.
No, but he did have a 100-point season.
Just not 103.
I think maybe he had 102.
Guy.
Ouch.
Don't kill the Quizmaster. I'm going to look that up, though. But yeah, no, it's not. That's not who I was. Yesterday was also the anniversary of when Brian Leach got traded to the Leafs.
The Leafs, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, there was so many of them. Holy smokes, this is tough. 103 on D.
Yeah, Leach 102.
Damn. I have more guesses, but they might not
Yeah.
be right. Potvin?
Nope, he did have a 100-point season, though.
Yeah.
This guy's an icon.
Yeah. I would imagine.
103 was an icon.
Jeepers. This is
McInnes?
tough. Nah. Is it Al McInnes?
Al
Let's go!
McInnes.
Oh, jeepers. I never would have thought he got that high. Al.
Whoa.
Oh, easy.
Was that
It was
another
the-
Shane Sayre?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Shane just commented it now. We can check the tape afterwards.
Al McInnes.
I love-
Bringing the heat with the Sherwood.
You're mad because I made it close. You
Man,
Yeah.
it was 4-1. What do
It
you
was
mean?
3-0, and now it's 3-2.
Well, and it's over.
Yeah, it's
I
done.
know, that's the worst part.
Oh, why? Were you just starting to come on with Shane there?
I was heating up. It takes a
yeah,
bit.
well, yeah, the comments. Yeah, it takes a bit. The guy comes out.
I'm a $69 Dodge Charger. It takes a couple minutes.
I'll give you one more bonus.
All right.
2 Montreal Canadiens have scored exactly 60 goals in a regular season. Name both of them.
Guy Lafleur.
Yep. That's their franchise record, by the way. 60 on the nose.
Yeah, I figured. They haven't had 40 since Stamfus.
Haven't had 50 since Stéphane
Stéphane
Richer.
Richer. Yeah.
Been a while.
Steve Shutt. Bang.
Done. That's it.
Yeah, all right.
That's it. Win. Bang.
I'll concede.
Thank you. Oh,
That was a lot of fun.
concede.
I'm getting closer.
I don't even know why I gave you a bonus question. You lost.
Well, you know what? I think
That's
for
all
the
right.
next NHL, because there's a couple of heavy hitters in the comment section. I know it just from doing the cahoots.
Yeah.
We put a blindfold on Latour. So that he doesn't come out. He doesn't come out with Howard Chucks and Norways and
Normally, he's hoping that I come to his aid and say, no, he's an upstanding guy. But a couple of weeks ago, he admitted, I just Googled one. So was
I
like,
did cheat once. Yeah.
Okay.
that's okay.
I'll admit to it.
I'm
Taints
like
the water.
no.
We
It's
just talked about how everybody in baseball should be cheated.
I think that's fine. Let's
You are
just,
consistent.
Let's end the show with this then.
Yeah.
I want Latour. If Latour's going to use Google, I want the recognition that he's Deep Blue and I'm Kasparov. That's what I want. If you want to watch that team, go home and watch it. It's terrific. Kasparov versus Deep Blue.
I didn't
terrific.
Google one this time. Sayre just commented saying Howard Chuck was all me.
That's
oh,
it.
yeah, you see?
I don't want to hear it. I don't even know this guy.
What do you mean? Trust me, you want to know him.
He
He's
kicks
a
my
good
ass
dude.
every day in Kahoot. I know that much.
I got to get on the Kahoot.
Get on it.
Thank you, Mark.
Oh,
This was
thank
fun
you.
As always.
No, beautiful.
A lot of fun. Of
Beautiful.
course, this is the Capital PTBO podcast. You can check us out wherever you do your downloading, and you can visit the store at 370 George Street or online at thecapitalptbo.ca.